Hello, guys, and welcome back. Sorry about the little hiatus. Um, John and I are busy guys, got work. I was on vacation, so we're going to start uploading a little bit more now that I'm back in town. And, you know, March Madness is finally upon us. The tourney is here. Um,
hmm
so let's just get into it. Your Wildcats were at the NIT tournament, and a brutal game. It was a brutal game. Yeah, get into it, bro.
Yeah, man, it was a game that, the K State fans didn't really want to play in it. They wanted to get that tournament at large. But after watching that game, I feel like there's no chance in hell they deserve to play in the NCAA tournament, man. Like, they came out there, not a whole lot of effort, especially from their older guys that you'd hope to, set an example and play like they want to be there, aka Kaluma, Carter, Perry, those kind of guys. They just didn't really show up to play, man. Perry 2 for 11 from the field. Uh, Carter 5 for 14. Kaluma 2 for 5. He had 4 turnovers. Dude just is a turnover prone. Has been turnover prone this season. Kaluma's been not taking care of the basketball the way he should. I guess McNair showed up, played good basketball. Gasson showed up, played good basketball. And then the only other people I could really give a shout out to on K State are the freshmen, man. The freshmen, like Day Ames, he had his career high in points. I thought he played a fantastic game from his standpoint. Buddy Rich, I'd like to see him play more. I don't know why this is the first game he played, pretty good minutes, and I thought he deserved to play more minutes, man. He got some good plays, 7 points, 4 rebounds. He had the and one, finished on the free throw, and Iowa, you got Peyton Samford with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 7 for 11 from three. That guy was cooking. You couldn't stop that man. 22 in the first half, and then of course Krike or Creaky, however you say his name.
Yeah,
He had 24 points, 11 boards. That dude was cooking. Iowa just wanted it more, man. Like I said, I don't think K State put a lot of effort in besides those younger guys, and that eventually cost them the game.
well, yeah, the biggest downfall was just flat out shooting for you guys. You guys went 8 for 30 from deep and 8 for 16 from the free throw line. Doesn't help the two guys that shoot the three ball the most couldn't make a bucket either. 2 for 12 from deep from Perry, 1 for 6 for Carter. I mean, that's just unexcusable. You're not going to win the NIT tournament. Don't matter if you're in the Big 12 shooting like that. That's just some bullshit right there. You're not going to win no tournament playing like that. And Iowa's making all their shots from deep. They went 11 for 23. Um, yeah, they also went 22 from 30 from the line, so not bad. And you guys had 13 turnovers as well, which I didn't think was horrible, but it would have been a closer game if that was reduced, obviously, no doubt. Because they got 12 fast break points off those, and you guys only got 7, so they were almost got twice the amount of fast break points as you guys got as well. But I think you guys did fine passing. Same thing with Iowa. You guys had 16 assists. They had 20. And both teams were getting after it on the boards. You guys had 38 rebounds. Iowa had 41. Um, the one positive I can really say about this game for Kansas State, though, was their inside presence. Mainly with the help of guys like Gasson and McNair and whatnot. You guys had 50 points in the paint opposed to Iowa's 28. So that's really the only positive thing I could say about Kansas State this game. You guys rebounded well, and you guys did fine in the paint, but shooting, man, just killed you guys. And turnovers to a slight degree.
Well, kind of like you said, man, turnovers. K State has not played a single game this year with less than 10 turnovers. Not one. Every single game they've had more than 10 turnovers. They
Yeah.
cannot take care of the basketball. That's been the biggest problem. Jerome Tang hasn't been able to figure it out. These guys haven't been able to figure it out. And not only that, man, but K State, I mean, yeah, they didn't shoot the greatest, but still got to 81 points. They hold their opponents to 70 points or less. You cannot give up 90 points if you're K State and expect to win. Their offense is not good enough to win, giving up 90 points, man. They gave up 90 points to Iowa and I don't even know how they were still in it. They crawled back a few times in the game, cut it to 3 points, 4 points, this and that, but really the whole time. This game was just dictated by Iowa the whole time. They've had the momentum. They kept it going. And just credit to them, man. They just wanted it more. Like I said, at this point, I think it's just time to look towards the future. You got a nice guard in David Castillo coming in next year. Data Ames should be back. Buddy
Yeah.
Rich, R.J. Jones. That's the future of this team, man. Sad to see, like a pretty up and down season for K State. Overall disappointing, but honestly, from a K State fan perspective, I think I'm ready to move on to the next year and just put this one behind us, man.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier. Well, actually, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago in our latest video. I said, why didn't Jerome Tang just play these young guys more? Because I think deep down, most Kansas State fans even knew back in probably late January to early February that it's kind of over. So get those young guys more playing time, like guys like Rich, Day Day Ames. It's like you got to work with what you got, man. I mean, a lot of this season falls on the coaching staff as well. You have to work with what you got, and obviously, you guys lost Glover and Tomlin, so you guys didn't really establish identity at all this year. I think those two losses just really just blew it, and then the fact that Jerome Tang really didn't want to use his young guys to see what he had for depth, I think that also really affected you guys. But yeah, I think it's half and half. Half the season falls on the coaching, half of it falls on the players. You said mentioned guys like Kaluma not putting in as much effort and maybe not wanting it as much, and that's what it takes. You have to want it, and Iowa obviously wanted it. The way Perry was playing basketball the last, I don't know, month or so, I thought he would become that guy for this team and just have one of those streaks in March, and sadly it never came to fruition. But yeah, just a season to, I guess, season just to forget and learn from.
Yeah, man. I'd say last thing I'll say about it is like you said. I think I noticed like before the game, Jerome Tang specified in particular against Iowa that he was going to play the guys that wanted to be out on the floor, that wanted to have effort. And I just don't know why he didn't do that all year, because we've seen multiple games this year where Kaluma, Perry, Carter, they just weren't putting in the effort that needed to be put in. They weren't trying as hard. They weren't diving after balls. They weren't getting at it on defense. And like you can't reward that behavior. And I feel like a lot of the times he was rewarding that behavior, man. Like, Kaluma would have back-to-back turnovers. He's still in the game, playing 30 minutes a game. Like, why is he in the game still? That's my question to you.
Yeah, it's like either you coach it or condone it. There ain't no in between, especially at the college level, man. I mean, the coaching is these guys influence so much with these young guys because, in professional, you're kind of led to your own devices. It ain't like that. These young guys, they need to have coaching and good leadership. I mean, it's just that simple. And yeah, I don't know if Tang did his job to his full, I guess, to the best of his abilities as he possibly could. I think they shouldn't move on from Jerome Tang. I'm not even advocating for that. I think it'd be stupid as hell if they just up and left or, just fired him or whatever. They need to stick it out with Jerome Tang.
Agreed.
Yeah, we just consider this one, if you're Jerome Tang, just a lost year, just a learning from experience year,
I mean, that's all I can really hope is you got Glover. He has a chance to still like redshirt and come back and be the leader of this team next year if he chooses to do so. That's somebody who K State would be very happy to get back, and actually play some basketball.
They
Yeah, and
need
then
him.
like other than that, they got to hit the transfer portal hard, man. They got a good recruit coming in. They're gonna need a new big man or even two big men. They just don't have too much like presence down low. And then they need that veteran guard, maybe one or two veteran guards. Carter should be back. If you got Glover coming back, I think they'll be all right there. But maybe go after one more guy in the transfer portal. But like I said, it's time to just move on, look forward to the future, start rebuilding. And I think today it starts with today, man. After that loss, your season's in a wrap. It's time to just go heavy and just start getting those players and start focusing on the next season.
Yeah, that's all you can do is just move on and learn from the season. But
Yeah,
um, who's your
that's all I
player
gotta
of
say.
the game, though?
Player of the game obviously is going to be for Iowa, man. It's going to be Peyton Samford, man. He was absolutely cooking. Like, he had 17 points in the first like 10 minutes or something of that game. Like, dude was on fire. He came ready, man. Like, I think he's a senior for Iowa, and he didn't want to go home. And I think he came out, showed that effort, and kind of outplayed K State as a whole, man. He had more points than K State did at one point as a whole team. So, dude just
Yeah.
didn't want to go home. He was playing well. If I had to pick a player of the game for K State, I think it'd be Day Ames, just because he had 16 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, but not a whole lot of positives for K State, like I said.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were my play. That was my player of the game, and the only really KSU notable player I got besides Will McNair. I thought I thought Will McNair's actually last month of basketball has been solid. I mean, not fantastic, but he's been kind of one of the more underrated guys from Kansas State. But all right, we can move on now real quick to this matchup between Kansas and Samford. But obviously the game hasn't been played yet as the time of this recording, so we know what KU is. We know that very similar to Kansas State, turnover prone, can't shoot the basketball very well, and also can't defend the three ball very well. Um, Kevin McCullar was just ruled out not even 12 hours ago. Bill Self ruled him out of the tournament. So, yeah, I still got us beating Samford, but I got us losing to Gonzaga in the next round. I don't see us going past the round of 32, which just seems impossible at this point without Kev. But Samford, they're a really great 3-point shooting team. Uh, they average 9.9 3-pointers a game. They average 15.9 free throws a game. They're not bad rebounders either. They're scrappy. They get 32.1 rebounds a game. And their true shooting percentage as a team as a whole is 60%. Like, these dudes do not miss somehow. So, like, if we can't defend these dudes, KU is not going to win. It's that simple.
Well, based off what you just said, man, real quick, I just want to say like the big focus for KU this game is gotta be Hunter Dickinson. That's where KU's gonna thrive in this one because Samford, although they are 16th best in the nation in 3-point percentage, ninth best in 3-point makes, they're very undersized, man. They have
Yeah.
their tallest player on their roster 6'9", and he plays good, man. A core, 16 points, 6 boards, 2 blocks, 1.5 steals a game, but they lost by 53 to Purdue earlier in the year, man, because they don't have any type of like down low presence like that. So I think the big key is for them to win is stop Hunter Dickinson, prevent him from catching the ball and doing what he needs to do, and they need to shoot lights out. Like you said, they're really a great shooting team. They're also really scrappy, man. All 5 of their starters average like 1 steal a game, which is pretty
Oh,
impressive. I thought, they'll get at the on the defensive end. They'll get at it that way. But like I said, KU without McCullough, huge loss. But I think they can get by this game if they play through Hunter Dickinson. They have to play through him though. He is going to be the guy that is going to be really the game changer in this one. Like I said, with Samford being so undersized.
well, yeah, Dickinson is obviously, he's going to have one hell of a game. He's just going to have to carry this team, like you said. And another guy maybe not have to carry the team, but step up big is Johnny Furphy, because Timberlake's going to have to obviously start, and Furphy's going to have to switch to the forward in place of Kev. So he's going to have to at least do half of what Kev can do if we're going to have a shot at winning this game. So Furphy is going to have to step up big time as well, because I don't think any Jayhawk fans banking on Timberlake or DeJuan to come out and drop like 20 plus, or you know what I mean. I don't think any of us are banking on that, but we are banking on not Timberlake, Dickinson. He's a guy. He's going to have to get 20 and 10 this game. He's going to have to put all of his effort out into this game if we're going to win it. If he's having one of those games where he goes for like 10, 15-minute stretches without making a bucket, not getting second chance points on the offensive boards, it's just like, yeah, he just needs to put in effort, and I think we can win this game. Like I said earlier, I think we're going to beat Samford. And some other things that they're interesting about Samford. You said their guards are scrappy and that they steal. They all average a steal a game, but pretty good as well at passing. As a team, they average 17.5 assists per game. They're kind of weird with the turnovers and their defense because they average 12.7 turnovers per game, but they average 10 steals a game. So while they steal the ball a lot from you, they also aren't very careful with the ball at the same time. So we're gonna have to take advantage of that, Kansas as well. If we're gonna take care of the ball and steal the ball from them. Take care of that.
Well, yeah, like you said, man, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. DeJuan Harris and Rylan Jones. Rylan Jones for Samford, they kind of have similar numbers. Like Rylan Jones averages 9 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 1.5 steals. So him and Harris are both very talented passers, and getting their team involved. So I think that'll be a nice matchup to watch as this game goes on. The other thing I want to mention about Samford is they have pretty decent like bench production as well, compared to Kansas. They can go a little bit deeper. They have 3 guys off the bench that average more than 5 points a game, which KU doesn't really have those type of players off the bench that can make an impact like that. And then other than that too, like Samford is just a great offensive team, man. They're I believe they're top 10 in the nation. Actually, it might even be top 5 in the nation with scoring. They average over 80 points a game, which is pretty solid, man. So if they can't yeah, if they can get going, it'll be hard for KU to pull this one out. But like I said, I just think you got to go through Dickinson, man. Like he's going to be the game changer in this one. Samford just doesn't have anybody to match up with him down low.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we can stop their 3-point shooting, or at least somewhat contested, and Dickinson puts in the work, does his thing, then we should be fine. I guess that's kind of all I have to say about the Samford KU game since they obviously haven't played yet. But I want to read you my Elite Eight real quick though before we move on to the Chiefs free agency and wrap up the show. So, I guess I'll just read you my Final Four. Why not? I got UConn, UNC, Houston, and Tennessee in the Final Four. I got, I guess the one upset. Well, now I got Michigan State also beating Mississippi State. That might be my biggest upset on my bracket. I'm sure a lot of people aren't too high on Michigan State right now.
Well, no, man. Like you said, Michigan State. I don't really think they were deserving of getting in there. 19-14. They had a couple of good wins like Baylor and Illinois, but other than that, they didn't really do a whole lot. And I think there's better teams to get in. Although I will say they did deserve to get in there over Virginia. Virginia was probably the worst at-large bid I have ever watched play in the NCAA tournament. They barely got to 40 points. They shot 25% from the field. Oh my goodness, dude. What was the committee thinking? Leaving some good teams out like Seton Hall, Pittsburgh, and putting Virginia in, man. They did not deserve to play in that game last night. So I think Michigan State did deserve it over them. However, I don't think they should have been in either. And other than that, like my upsets, at least upsets to look out for. I'm going to think James Madison versus Wisconsin is going to be a game that's going to be coming down to the wire, I could say. As well as like McNeese State and Gonzaga. Gonzaga hasn't been the team that they've been in the past, decade or so. So this is a game that they could easily lose to a team like McNeese State with only 3 losses. And then the biggest one I want to throw out there is Grand Canyon versus St. Mary's. I think I was talking about Grand Canyon with you a little bit last year when they were in the tournament playing against Baylor. They had Rayshawn Harrison back. He's a great player. And then also Tyson Grant Foster, man. That dude is a absolute freak. Also a Kansas City native as well. So somebody to look out for. He's going to make some noise. And I think St. Mary's could easily lose that game, man.
Oh, I got Grand Canyon beating them. I got them winning that game. And speaking of Gonzaga, you're right, they are not the same team that they've been under Mark Few the last few years. But Man, if Kev was playing, I would have to have KU beating not Creighton, Gonzaga. I think I would just have to, but I just, yeah, I don't see us beating Gonzaga there without Kev. So I think Gonzaga will be fine and move on to the Sweet 16 just because of that fact. But my national champion though is UNC. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I think they're gonna beat Tennessee in the chip, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I also got Iowa State in the
Yeah, you did.
Elite.
You did.
I got Baylor and Iowa State at the Big 12 and the Elite Eight. This is the only Big 12 teams I got. Right. Okay, before we wrap up the show, talk a little about the Chiefs. A lot of
Yeah,
things
Iowa State
happened.
probably got the best chance out of the Big 12 to make a run there, but they got to get through UConn, so probably not going to be something that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't see them getting past UConn. I don't see that happening. Iowa State's a hell of a good team, but I don't see them getting past UConn. And you ready to move on to the Chiefs, though? Okay.
No, I would agree.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
the Chiefs currently they got a little over $15.2 million in cap space, which is currently 21st in the NFL, and that's even after we extended Chris Jones, paid Marquise Brown and Irv Smith Jr. Just a few acquisitions we got. I really like Brown's contract though. It's a 1-year deal. You can earn up to $11 million with incentives, and I think it's a lot better deal than some of the other free agents we've seen, like Calvin Ridley. He got 4-year, $50 million deal, or $50 million of that guaranteed. He can earn up to 52 million or 92 million, excuse me. And Curtis Samuel, he got a 3-year, $42 million deal, 15 million guaranteed. And then Darnell Mooney, 3 years, 39 million, $26 million guaranteed. So those are some guys that we talked about a few weeks ago in one of our videos about free agency. And I don't like their contracts. I really like what the Chiefs did with Marquise Brown. I don't know. What are your opinions on that?
I mean, I'd have to agree with you, man. I think that was a good contract for them, just doing the 1 year, saving some money in the long run. Plus, like we don't know how well he's going to fit into the Chiefs organization. I mean, he's going to step in and be like wide receiver one, most likely. He could be a wide receiver two, but I think he'd probably be not wide receiver one. And then I think he's gonna as a nice like kind of trial run for him because like I said, you don't know if he's gonna click and all that, but I do believe that this is a good contract for Kansas City to sign just because like you said, it saves cap space. You don't have to worry as much. You know, if he has an off year or anything like that, you wouldn't have to worry about paying him some ridiculous amount of money. He'll be gone, and but I like the signing a lot, man. Kansas City really needed a receiver to step in, and I think that was a good signing for sure. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I I think the biggest thing with me about that contract is Marquise Brown. He's been known to. I mean, he's a good wide receiver, obviously, but he's not been known to be a very consistent wide receiver. So I like the fact that we're not wrapped up in a bunch of years with him as well, because yeah, I think that's also the biggest thing. We're not stuck with him. Um, what do you think is the biggest move though this offseason? You think it was Chris Jones extending Drew Tranquill, Mahomes reconstructing his contract? What do you think is the biggest move? John's time's a little bit behind mine, I guess.
I mean, biggest move this offseason for, in my opinion, probably be re-signing Chris Jones. I think that was a move we were talking about a couple weeks ago. That we were kind of wondering if that was going to be something that happened, and pulling off a contract, being able to sign him, keep him on the team. I think that was probably my biggest thing for Kansas City. However, I do think that Marquise Brown signing is up there as well, just because, like I mentioned, a couple weeks ago as well, that I thought Kansas City needed another receiver on the receiving line. So I'm glad to see him come in, probably making an immediate impact. But I think Chris Jones for sure, man, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. That dude is, with the retirement of Aaron Donald, he's easily the best defensive tackle in the game. It's probably undisputable at this point. And, if we three-peat with him, he's undisputedly first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. I think he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer with 3 rings, but if he could come in here and help us three-peat, man, and help us become potentially the greatest dynasty that football has ever seen. Sure, you got New England and stuff, but they never won. They never three-peated like that. So, yeah, that might have been the biggest move so far. And I think in the draft, we probably don't need to worry about wasting a first round
Nobody
pick.
is.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about wasting a first round pick on a wideout. I think we should go get an O lineman personally. Either stack up on the defense or the O line. Just do what New England did for years.
I agree.
Okay. All right. You have any other opinions?
I agree, man. I think offensive lineman would be a great pick. I was talking about that again like a couple weeks ago when we were doing our last show, talking about the Chiefs. I think you build that O line, will be solid. It's not like this needs that much work. However, they were penalized a lot last season, so if we can build that line up a little bit, protect our quarterback, and really just give him more time in the pocket and everything, I think the Chiefs should have a recipe to have a three-peat. Obviously, easier said than done. But, with this offseason, I think they kind of planted the pieces to the puzzle, and they can definitely pull it off, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I got us winning the Super Bowl until they are out of the playoffs, man. I'm not going to count them out. So that's just the way I'm going to view it from now on in the Mahomes era. Especially after the receiving core that dude was throwing to last year. It's just like, how could you doubt him? I mean, they should be the favorites, and yeah, I'm not going to doubt them again until they give me a reason to doubt them.
Agreed.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up the show, bro?
Not really. I think we covered it pretty well, man. Interesting to see how the next couple weeks will play out. We'll see how Kansas does against Samford tomorrow night. We'll see how the Chiefs do for the rest of this off season here, if they get any other players or anything like that. But as of now, I think we kind of got it summed up pretty well.
All right. Well, until next time, peace out, John. Peace out, guys.
Later.
See you all later.